The movie opens on February 3rd, where we meet our protagonist, Walter Sparrow, an animal control officer. Today is his birthday, and he's eagerly waiting for his shift to end. However, with just 1 minute to go, he receives a call from his boss ordering him to respond to an emergency. This greatly annoys Walter, but he reluctantly agrees and he heads to the location. Walter soon arrives at the basement of a Chinese restaurant where he must tame an angry dog. He starts telling a story to distract the animal and eventually manages to lure it. Walter checks the dog tag and discovers the dog's name is Ned, which strangely shocks him. Suddenly, Ned bites Walter and flees the basement. Despite being injured, Walter chases after the dog with a tranquilizer gun. Not long after, Ned leads Walter to a cemetery but disappears before he can be captured. Walter's attention is drawn to a gravestone belonging to a woman named Laura Tollins. Elsewhere, Walter's wife, Agatha, waits for him at a bakery with a cake to celebrate his birthday. When he takes too long to arrive, she wanders into a nearby bookstore where a book titled The Number 23 catches her eye. Shortly after, Walter arrives and finds her reading it. Ned is silently watching from outside as Walter tells Agatha about what happened. She gives him the book as a birthday gift, and Walter learns it was written by a mysterious author named Top Secrets. Later, the couple attends a party with their friends, but the curious Walter can't resist reading the book. The prologue warns that the characters are fictional and that readers should stop immediately if they notice similarities to real life. Upon returning home, Walter's teenage son Robin wishes him a happy birthday and gives him a gift. Walter then begins chapter 1 and learns that the main character is named Fingerling. The next day, February 4th, Walter is given time off due to the dog bite and stays home reading chapter 2. The book instructs readers to imagine themselves as the child, making the story deeply immersive. Fingering is a studious boy living in a remote town, believing education is his only escape. He is friendly with his neighbor, widow Topkins' dog, which often runs toward his house. Fingerling always chases it back but is forbidden by his father from crossing into the neighbor's yard. On his eighth birthday, Fingerling breaks the rule and follows the dog home, where he discovers Widow Tompkins bloodied and dead in her bedroom. Although authorities ruled it a suicide, Fingerling realizes it was murder, inspiring him to become a detective. After finishing chapter 2, Walter tells Agatha that Fingerling's life mirrors his own. He shows her a photo album of a neighbor's dog that once ran away and inspired him to work in animal control. He also reveals that Rita Dopkins reminds him of his mother, who died when he was 8. Agatha remains unconvinced and urges him to keep reading. Walter continues and learns that Fingerling becomes a detective and meets a woman named Fabrizia. On February 5th, Walter is at work but spends his time reading, already reaching chapter 5. In it, Detective Fingerling encounters a blonde woman attempting to hang herself. He distracts her with a story and she reveals her obsession with the number 23, claiming it ruined her life just as it did her father's. She believes the number appears elsewhere in dates, names, colors, and objects. Fingerling believes he has saved her, but as he walks away, the woman collapses and dies. Shocked, Walter notices that his initial W is the 23rd letter of the alphabet. He goes to a store to research the author but learns the book is self-published and that Top Secrets has written nothing else. At home, Walter tells his family that adding the letters of his name equals 23. His birthday is February 23rd. He was born at 1112, which adds up to 23, and even his license and social security numbers contain the number. He becomes convinced the book is about him, though Agatha remains skeptical. She points out that Fingerling becomes a killer and asks if Walter is one too. Walter reads chapter 7, where Fingerling begins seeing the number 23 everywhere. He goes to a hotel with Fabrizia and notices the time is 9:14, adding up to 23. In their room, she asks him to threaten her as part of a role play. Though he insists he loves her, Fingerling begins having violent nightmares about killing her. In the real world, Walter also starts hallucinating himself stabbing someone. Disturbed, he puts the book down and counts Agatha's shoes, realizing there are exactly 23 pairs. On February 6th, Agatha wakes up to find Walter asleep on the couch with calculations carved into his arm, all equaling 23, along with the words, kill her. Terrified, she calls a friend, Dr. Isaac, for help. Walter later meets Isaac at a university where the professor explains that 23 is often linked to conspiracy theories. He mentions Earth's 23.5-degree tilt, 23 chromosome pairs, and that blood circulates the body in 23 seconds. Even the Bible avoids chapter 23 in Revelation because it's considered cursed. Despite this, Walter keeps seeing the number everywhere. Isaac advises him to finish the book and confront the author if he still believes it's about him. Walter continues reading and learns that Fingering visits his psychiatrist, Dr. Phoenix, due to nightmares of murdering Fabrizia. The doctor suggests time off, but Fabrizia becomes angry and leaves Fingerling. He later notices she owns 23 pairs of shoes and throws one pair away, causing her to call him insane. Fingerling obsesses over historical events tied to 23, including Ted Bundy's execution. He later tells Dr. Phoenix everything, who offers to speak with Fabrizia. This turns disastrous when the two begin an affair. Reading this, Walter grows paranoid and rushes to find Agatha. He sees the number 23 everywhere before reaching her shop, where he finds her talking to Isaac. That night, Walter wakes at 11:12 and goes to the King Edward Hotel asking for room 23. Walter reaches chapter 22 where Dr. Phoenix discovers Fabrizia brutally murdered. Fingling is revealed as the killer, but the police arrest Phoenix instead. The book ends abruptly, leaving Fingerling's fate unknown. Walter then hears a dog barking. It's Ned. He chases the dog back to the cemetery, tranquilizes him, and realizes Ned's name also adds up to 23. A priest arrives and explains that Ned watches over graves, including Laura Tollins, who died on her 23rd birthday, through though her body was never found. Walter returns home and confronts Isaac, revealing the book is a confession. Newspaper clippings show Laura's lover and Professor Kyle was convicted of her murder. Suspecting Kyle wrote the book, Walter visits him in prison on February 8th. Kyle denies everything and mocks the pseudonym Top Secrets. Robin later reveals he found the author's mailbox address hidden in the book. The family sends 23 form filled packages to the address and waits at the post office on February 9th. An old man arrives to collect them, and Walter confronts him. The man claims Walter should be dead before slitting his own throat. Before dying, he gives Agatha an address. Agatha visits the location, an abandoned psychiatric institution, where she learns the man was Dr. Leary. Inside, she finds a red room filled with the number 23 and a box labeled with Walter's name. Meanwhile, Walter discovers a hidden message in the book instructing him to dig beneath the steps to heaven at Casanova's park. He and Robin uncover a skull, but when police arrive, it has vanished. They're accused of playing a prank. While driving home, they encounter Ned again. Walter notices mud on Agatha's hands and realizes she took the bones. She admits it was to protect the family, then reveals the shocking truth. Walter himself wrote the book. Agatha shows him the original manuscript from the Institute, triggering Walter's repressed memories. He returns to room 23 at the King Edward Hotel, where he uncovers chapter 23 hidden behind the wallpaper. Fingerling finally reveals his true identity, Walter Sparrow. Walter remembers everything: his father's suicide, his obsession with 23, his love affair with Laura Tollins, and discovering her betrayal with Kyle. After receiving a breakup note, Walter decodes the message, kill her, and murders Laura in a rage. He hides her body in the park, frames Kyle unknowingly, and writes the book as a confession before attempting suicide. Walter survives and is institutionalized, where Dr. Leary later publishes the manuscript and becomes obsessed himself. Walter eventually recovers, forgets his past, and meets Agatha. In the present, Walter contemplates ending his life but stops when he sees his son. He turns himself in, allowing Laura's remains to be properly buried. The film ends with Walter in prison, visited by Agatha and Robin as he stares at a clock pointing to 23. And with that, Walter finally accepts the truth behind the number that destroyed his life. The mystery of 23 doesn't end with answers, it ends with consequences. Some patterns are better left unseen because once you notice them, there's no turning back. If you enjoyed this mind bending movie recap, hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Share this video with someone who loves psychological thrillers and subscribe to CineSnap for more dark, twisted movie stories explained in detail.